Greetings, travelers. 'Tis I, Kyoke, part-time raider, part-time H-reviewer. Now that warriors and paladins have been buffed and machinists have been completely abandoned, the current hot topic of the Final Fantasy XIV community is healers. Because healers are so easy to play that they're boring and unfun. Wait, actually they're so hard to play that no one plays them in Party Finder anymore, and there's a so-called healer drought. So, are they too easy, or are they too hard? Which one is it? Well, as a healer main with Savage and some ultimate experience, I'm here to set the record straight. Healing in Final Fantasy XIV is fun. Okay, let's get the obvious stuff out of the way. Healing normal content is simple. I've had literal healer bots in my leveling roulettes that only spammed GCD heals and the dungeons went just fine. But I'm okay with normal content being easy since the MSQ is a JRPG and no one should feel gatekept from the story if they're not really into optimized MMO content. Unfortunately for a large portion of players, that's the only type of healing content they'll ever really experience. Roughly 80% of FF14 players never touch Savage raiding content, and of the ones that do, only a quarter of them are healers, cause, 2 healers out of a party of 8. So it's not really a big surprise to see community sentiment that healing is just brainlessly mashing glare when only 5% of them have actually experienced high-end raiding as a healer. So while healing normal content is rather simple, Savage content is the complete opposite. It's hard, it's complicated, there's a lot of things to keep track of at the same time, requires quick decision making in critical situations, requires positioning skills and quick adaptations, but that's what makes it fun. If you've never Savage raided before and all of that sounds overwhelming, trust me, I was there, we've all been there, but as you gain raiding experience, you'll feel the improvement, and that's what makes the entire process so fun and satisfying. You'll start being quicker at adapting and optimizing your own unique healing rotations for each specific fight. You'll start performing small miracles by recovering fights that get more and more chaotic. And as you master the intricacies of the healing role, you might even understand the nuances that separate scholars from sages. So healers and DPS jobs have fundamentally different play styles. DPS jobs have a high personal rotation with low party support. The rotations can be complex as hell, but the only util they bring to the party is one mid or maybe a minor util. Tanks have medium rotation complexity, and they bring medium support, being in charge of their own personal mid for busters and party support. And healers have low personal rotations, but their entire playstyle revolves around maximizing the effectiveness of their healing util, whether it be through heals or mitts. And I love this playstyle. It's like piecing together a giant jigsaw puzzle of, should I use Lilybell once in this optimal situation, or should I use it twice, but in these unoptimal parts? Should I use a benediction to heal a tank right here, or a bunch of minor cooldowns to stop him from bleeding out? It's all about balancing cooldowns with the efficiency of your heals, and sometimes a DPS player jumps on the table and knocks all the pieces over and you have to scramble to pick them all back up before the next raid wide. I love the current healing playstyle, and I don't want it to get dumbed down just so they can be another scuffed DPS job. I see people unironically saying things like, give healers complex rotations and replace all the healing buttons with Cure 2 or something. If I wanted to play a job with more complex rotations, then I would just play tank or DPS. Leave my healing kits out of it. Okay, I was going to ramble in depth about the healer DPS argument, but I'll rapid fire my stance on some common topics and you can choose to agree or disagree. These are just my personal opinions, and we will likely not see eye to eye on everything, and that's okay. Honestly, you should probably just close the video now since it's going to get nerdy boring, and I'm not going to bother with actual editing. Give healers complex DPS so they have something to do. Alright, well that would make healing in Savage extremely difficult as it's already known for being the hardest role in the tier. I don't get the luxury of staring at my hotbar and playing whack-a-mole with any buttons that light up like DPS players get to do. I have to be monitoring my party's HP, party resources, my own cooldowns, and planning for upcoming boss mechanics and damage. If normal healing content bores you, then do harder content. No one's really forcing you to play healer in casual content. But McQ times. It's not like there's a significant shortage of casual content healers. If anything, I get more instant queues on tanks. If the situation gets so bad that DPS and tanks are waiting 20 minutes or so for healers, then yeah, probably something will need to change, but currently it only takes 1 or 2 minutes to queue for current content normal raids on DPS, so we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I need to level my healers. I honestly think the boringness of healers is a little over exaggerated. If all you do on White Mage is spam glare and GCD heals while ignoring your other skills, then yeah, it's probably gonna be boring. It wouldn't be fair for me to say DPS is boring just because all I do is spam 1, 2, 3 while ignoring all my other buttons. Monitoring tank HP on big dungeon pulls and rotating OGCDs to keep them up while maximizing my own DPS is honestly pretty engaging. I'll admit that the so-called fun ceiling on healers is lower for casual content, but you only have to level each job once and it's not the end of the world. Class uniformity. All the healer jobs are the same or something. If you never do content that requires you to use actual healing buttons, then obviously you're going to think that all the healers are the same with just 3 normal damage buttons. That's like saying all DPS are the same because all you do is press 1, 2, 3 and build gauge. When you start optimizing gameplay in high-end content, you'll start noticing the playstyle differences. For example, Scholars have infinite uptime movement but comes at a DPS loss, while Sages has a limited usage of movement but it's not at a DPS loss. Scholar's main mitt is a placed field so you can shield while you're far away, but Sage's shield is a snapshot so people can spread afterwards. Scholars try to convert their excess heals to damage potency, while Sages gain bonus value from their DPS, so they try to reduce their GCD healing. None of this healing complexity really matters in casual content, but you could say the same about DPS job complexity too, since there's no enrages. Alright, I don't want to talk about this too much, and most people close the video 5 seconds in anyways, but here's a quick summary of my thoughts. 1. I really like the current playstyle of healers, and I think it's really fun. 2. Healing in normal content is easy, but that's pretty good for beginners. 3. If you consider yourself a non-beginner, then try harder content. Probably won't find healing easy anymore once you're healing in extreme raids or savage raids. 4. If you're a new player or a veteran that has never tried healing before, give it a shot. It's a unique playstyle and it has a very high ceiling for player expression and skill. There we have it, my thoughts on healing in Final Fantasy XIV. I could ramble for hours about the topic, but I really try my best to condense everything into a reasonable length. If for some reason you still want to hear me ramble more about the state of healers, check out this video. As always, thanks for watching. Now let's get out there and get punched by trees.